We are back with Phil Cramer. His project is called Steele Creek, and the new album is A Long Way From Home. The song you just heard right now was Further Down the Line, my favorite on the album, and I think one thing I learned about you on social media really ties in with this whole notion of vivid memories and looking at others further down the line, waiting with the porch light. You are someone who performs often for the memory impaired.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate this fall and summer to be able to do that. My wife actually runs the program for folks with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, and some of their usual musicians have not been able to come in for reasons related to the pandemic, and so I was able to step into that role, and I go in, it's not every week, but it's once a week when I get to do it, and I get to play classic country songs and old New Orleans songs. We do some, St. James Infirmary and Oh When the Saints Go Marching In, and sometimes those two things intersect and we get to do, Jambalaya by Hank Williams and things like that. And then every now and then I get to sneak in an old folk ballad or something like that. So I think the post you're referencing, I was playing an old, Joan Baez, her version, of the tune Lily of the West. And it's just, it's a joy. It is so much, fun to get to go in and do it. And if you, it can be hard sometimes to pick out, as a younger person, what songs are they going to know? And are they going to be able to pick up on? But when you hit it right and everyone's there and they're with you and they're singing along and, it's really a joy. And what's really, fantastic is the way that, of course, songs stay with you, right? It doesn't matter, even people without any memory impairment, right? We can forget all kinds of things that happen, but a song comes on the radio that we knew, 30 years ago, and all of a sudden we're singing along. So something about music stays lodged in there, and and it can also unlock other memories, So you're playing the song, and then you can ask, hey, does anyone remember this song, or what does it mean to you? And, you'll get a story about summer camp and going to the dances and, when you were a little girl, and all of it is accessible through music, and that's been such a joy. The song Further Down the Line was written for thinking about my grandfather on the eve of his 90th birthday, and he's 92, 93 now, and I wanted to think about, different stories that he had told. The opening of the song is kind of about how he would go looking for old arrowheads that would come up from the creek bed after a heavy rain with his dad when he was a little boy. And so that was, kind of the opening line and the opening inspiration of the song, and then tried to capture some other pieces from his stories, but really as part of, the chorus, right? If I live to be as old as the hills of Carolina, you'll find me walking slow among the poplars and the pines. And I wanted to think about this idea of him there in North Carolina where he grew up and where so many of his relatives are from, so many of his ancestors, and to think about him walking those same hills kind of alongside them, that they're all there, together in this place. And I think one reason that I started really reflecting on that was actually having kids. I have 2 young children, and thinking about how, being from, I adore New Orleans, and also being from North Carolina is really important to me. And so the idea that they're never going to be from there, they're never going to have that connection in that same way, I think was part of what started leading me down this line of thinking intergenerationally about, where we're from and the ghosts that surround us and the people that are there.
You have very good DNA. Based on the ages of your grandparents, you're probably going to outlive me by just a little. But no.
Yeah, we've been lucky to have so much time with them.
The way memory is triggered, you're talking about just being in that land. You're talking about the senses, tasting peaches, smelling these candles, listening to music. There's so many ways to walk in those memories again. And it's a fascinating thing. And in the song, you even mentioned that the world is only memory.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, of course, right? In the end, that's all that we have to hold on to. All the physical things are going to fade away. And those memories and those stories are the ways that we hold on to people and places and the things that really matter to us. I think it was important for me to find a way to tell some of those stories in these songs, to memorialize them in that way.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job with it.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to close things out. I always ask my guests to pick a song, and I give them a little category depending on their album, depending on the interview. And Phil, I want you to imagine yourself, based on how long your family lives, probably 90 or 100 or something. And you are sitting in an old folks home, and some musician comes along and plays a song, and that song is going to trigger your memories and take you back to some time when you were younger. What is that song and what is that memory?
One time recently when I went in to play for them, it was around the holidays, and I was looking for kind of non-traditional Christmas songs, non-traditional holiday songs, and I adore Joni Mitchell, and as sometimes River comes over the speakers at the Target during the holidays, and it's always a little jarring because it's sort of such an anti-Christmas song, but it has that little Jingle Bells lick at the beginning of it, and I played it and nobody recognized it. Which is fine. But that song means so much to me and was, I think in particular, it was sort of, a friend shared it to me, right? Most of the songs that we're going to love the most and are going to mean the most are because somebody, slid that mixtape across the table and it meant something to you and it changed your life. And, so I had a really good friend towards the end of high school who really, rocked my whole world and also turned me on to folk music and all this kind of stuff that became really instrumental to who I am. And so she got me listening to Blue by Joni Mitchell. And so I think if I was in that old folks home and someone came in and they played River, I'd be weeping over in the corner for sure. Just remembering that pivotal moment of youth, that I think a lot of people have, when sort of, just something happens to upset your normal routine and opens up a whole new world to you, those moments of revelation that we hope for. That'd be it for me.
Yeah, as a young kid listening to mostly rock and roll, I had Brandy Carlisle come in and start planting things in my head.
There you go. Yeah. What song was it for you?
Just her debut album. I heard Story come on during the Olympics in 2008, the commercials, but I went back and found her debut album and I got lost in that forever.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So we'll play one from that album. We'll play River. So Cramer, Steele Creek, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Trevor.